Question 26. Assume the nation of TV land does not trade with the rest of the world. By comparing the world price of televisions to the price of televisions in TV land, we can determine whether consumer surplus exceeds producer surplus in TV land. TV land has an absolute advantage. TV land has a comparative advantage in producing televisions. So can we find out if they have, oops, that was silly. Can we find out if they have an absolute advantage? Well, all we're comparing is the world price of televisions, the price of televisions in TV land. Well, comparing those two things, we cannot say that about the absolute advantage in the production of TVs. That means D must not be correct. Can we determine whether consumer surplus exceeds producer surplus? No, because it is possible that you could trade and still have the consumer surplus exceed the producer surplus, even if you were exporting TVs. Just because you're exporting doesn't mean one of the surpluses is bigger than the other. It just means for exporting, producers gain surplus. It doesn't necessarily mean that producers would get more surplus than consumers. So then C, TV land has a comparative advantage, right? We don't know if they do or not or don't, but by comparing these two things, we could figure that out. Figure 1011. Which of the following statements is correct? The private value of the 420th unit of output is 15. Well, what's the private value here? Private value is this guy, the lower line. So then all we need to do is trace up that 420th unit to 15. We see that that is in fact the case. The social value of the 420th unit of output is 42. Well, we can do the same thing with that. The social value is in fact 42. Check. Well, if two are right, all of the above must be correct. The external benefit of the 420th value, well, what's the difference between 42 and 15? That is in fact equal to 27. So then D, all of the above are correct. 28. The table represents a market in which, well, what is this, an external cost? Well, the external cost is always 6, which means this is a negative externality. A negative externality is always an additional cost. So then there is no externality, positive. There is a negative externality because there's an external cost present. If this market currently producing at Q4, then total economic well-being would be maximized if output. So we're at Q4, we should shrink output to Q3 because that's where our equilibrium is. We want to hit equilibrium, so we decrease it to Q3. Which of the following goods is excludable but not rival? Well, can we keep people from using it? Yes, you can keep people from using a toll road. Can you exclude people from fire protection? Nope. If there's a fire, they come. Can you exclude people from a tornado siren? If the siren goes off, they can hear it. Can you exclude people from whales in the ocean? No. So then, just going through and seeing excludable, we know that a congested toll road, because of the toll, is excludable. And because it's congested, it is going to be rival in consumption.